My name's Claire Longo. I wanted to make a short video to introduce myself and also to talk through my career path in data science and artificial intelligence. The reason I wanted to do this is I wanted to talk through the bumps along the road, the learnings I had in my career path, hoping they'll kind of resonate with the audience here and hopefully inspire some of you. First off, I think I need to introduce you to the guest on the show today. This is Xena. She's my little nightmare chihuahua, and she will be making a guest appearance in this video because I can't prevent it. Here she is. So let's jump in. How did I end up here? Well, I started out homeschooled, which is a really embarrassing fun fact. I used to hide from everyone, but now I'm open about it because I think I'm old enough that it shouldn't matter. I just felt so different, but now I think it's good to be different. So I was homeschooled my entire life. I loved math. Math was kind of a core part of our curriculum in homeschool. And to me, I thought that mathematics was beautiful. It was like a really fun puzzle. I was good at it and not embarrassed about that. And I thought the equations were very beautiful and artistic. So I was really kind of drawn to it. And I ended up continuing my education to get my bachelor's degree in applied math and my master's degree in statistics from University of New Mexico. Everyone was kind of saying the same thing to me. They would say, oh, math is really hard. They would say, oh, I hate math, which is like kind of a rude thing to say to people who really enjoy studying it, but I would hear that a lot and still do. Or they would say, why are you studying math? Like there's nothing you can do with math. All you can do is teach. So there was really at this time, this is quite a few years ago, at this time, there wasn't a lot of knowledge around what career paths were even an option with mathematics. And at the time, there certainly weren't any degree programs in AI or data science. So the path into data science was usually statistics, math, computer science, even physics was a very common one, economics. People were having to self-teach those data science skills at the time. So let's walk through my job history here, and I'll tell you kind of the pains along the way, the learnings, that kind of thing. My first jobs were actually internships. I was working for the DOE National Laboratories. So I started out working for the man, working for the government. I was working as a true traditional statistician. I was a statistician by training and actually taking on a role where the title was statistician to start my career off. And at this point, I was programming predominantly in R. I know, I'm sorry. And I was using pretty simple, like traditional statistical methods like linear regression, ARIMA, some hypothesis testing like t-tests, that kind of thing. So at this point, those were the tools in my toolbox. And I moved into my first real job after my internships. So my first real job is like kind of a strange one, so like bear with me here. I think it's a little bit unexpected. I took my first real job as a contractor at a military site where they were decommissioning chemical weapons. So here's something I didn't know about that military weapons site when I first took the job fresh out of college. Every October, there would be tarantula migrations. Yes, you heard that right. Tarantulas, like big, hairy, awful spiders, would migrate through the site. So it wasn't the weapons that really turned me off. It was actually the spiders. I remember driving to work and you would see just this like black spot moving across the road. And as you got closer, you would see like dun, 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 dun. It's a tarantula. So apparently they migrate, they would come through every October. I didn't love that, it really wasn't my ideal coworker. So the real reason was like I wanted to break into like the data science field as that was growing. So I really started looking for my first data science job. My first role as a data scientist was at a small consulting firm. Now, the reason that this was so cool, 10 out of 10, I would recommend this for people, was because I had this opportunity to take on different contracts as a consultant. And that meant that I had this window into applying data science across different fields. At this point, I had just landed my first data science role. I was so excited. It just felt so good to have that title. I was part of something new, part of something big, but I was still coding in R. I still mostly knew how to use like very basic linear modeling methods and time series. And there was really a gap in my skill set here. So now I had to learn to be a data scientist. I had the job, but I was really a statistician by trade. So what I had to do is kind of draw on those self-teaching skills that I had learned in homeschool. So I learned Python by myself. I used this tutorial called Learn Python the Hard Way, and I still think it's hard, but also relevant. So I will definitely link it down below for everyone who's interested. If I wasn't a data scientist, I would have wanted to work in fashion in some way. And originally, when I went down this path of mathematics, I didn't see any way that mathematics could be relevant to this, or that I really had like any chance of a career in fashion. What I chose to do is pursue fashion as a hobby, data science as a career, and I figured like they would kind of even themselves out. Hopefully with data science, I would make enough money to buy all the fashion that I want, which has definitely kind of worked out. I ended up making a career move to work for a personal styling company, which this was just my dream job. I remember when I heard about the job opportunity, I was like, oh no, this is too good to be true. There's no way they're actually gonna take me because this is just too perfect. But they did, and I ended up working for this personalized styling company where I got to really focus on personalization algorithms, so machine learning models to make personalized recommendations for clothing. And I was just in heaven. Like I was finally working with the kind of data that I was so passionate about. And I think the ability to do that, to apply machine learning to an industry that I was really excited about, really helped me lean in, go 110%, go above and beyond here, and really become quite specialized. So I became narrowly focused at the time on recommender systems. I do recommend to some people, to some people to figure out if you want to be a specialist or a generalist and carve out a specialization. Even if you are going to go down the generalist path, which I have eventually in my career, having a specialization where you can really show some technical depth is not going to hurt you. So I chose for my kind of specialization area to be recommender systems. Now, this is about 2016, 2017. And at this point, there is a gap in the data science industry. Data science is still a new field. Organizations are still figuring out how to do data science right, but everyone wants it. Like big data is the buzzword right now. So anyone who's anyone wants to make sure that they're getting their value out of big data. And they're bringing in all kinds of data scientists with different skill sets and backgrounds and trying to figure out how to get value from these data science projects. Now, the gap that I started to see was that it was no longer that hard to train a good machine learning model. I trained some pretty good machine learning models that never saw the light of day because I didn't have the skill set to bring that model out of the Jupyter notebook and integrate it into the business. So I started to try to solve these problems. Now this is the career advice that I give to people. You can take it or leave it, but the way that I've modeled my career and every advancement that my career has had has been due to me identifying a gap in the data science or AI industry and trying to solve it, trying to bring solutions. And I've seen a lot of like really good data scientists through my career who don't have that mindset. And you can still be successful, but like it's also like really annoying because they'll come into a company that doesn't know how to do data science right and just like complain about it instead of trying to help that company do data science right. But the truth of it is like we're in a field that is evolving like very quickly. Like we're literally like building the plane while we're flying in it. And if you just want to sit in your tiny piece of the plane and wait for everyone else around you to figure out how to solve these problems so that you can do the role that you think you were hired to do, you're not going to be able to add value. And the other kind of side of this, like even beyond just adding value in your role, is that this kind of like gap in an industry is like opportunity. Instead of complaining about how this is blocking you, being able to put on a different hat and then go try to solve it and go try to collaborate with other people to solve it is actually an incredible skill set that has like advanced my career every time that I've done it. So the problem to solve at this point was we don't know how to deploy machine learning models. And I was so lucky to be at this company, this personalized styling service company, because I was surrounded by some absolutely incredible data engineers and software engineers. And I began collaborating with them, and I began to pick up some software engineering skills, some DevOps skills, and I also began to educate some of these folks about data science models and machine learning. And this was such a fun collaboration because we ended up like really solving some of these industry problems. We figured out how to deploy a model, how to integrate it into the company's software. We figured out how to maintain the quality of that model by applying some DevOps principles. This was really, really fun and super rewarding. So what I ended up learning was a lot of DevOps principles that I would end up taking with me to my next roles. And y'all know what that means. I'm the person that's always yelling about MLOps. MLOps is really just DevOps for machine learning. And so this is really where that passion came from. So my next role was at a large tech company. I was finally working in Silicon Valley, big tech. This was a really exciting move for me. It's not a step that I thought my career would ever make. I remember kind of looking at like the buzz in Silicon Valley and the software engineering, the AI startups, that kind of thing, and just thinking like, oh, it's amazing, but like they'll never take me. But being able to get into one of these larger tech companies was just such an incredible experience where I learned so much. I came in as a data scientist, and I realized quickly that this company really had a need for a machine learning engineer. So I helped define what that role is. I ended up moving into the role of machine learning engineer myself, and I began to focus on delivering end-to-end data science projects and machine learning platform tooling that was required to support this team to succeed in terms of deploying models, experimenting with them, tracking experiments, and maintaining those models, that quality of the models over time. So really starting to apply some of those DevOps concepts that I'd learned. As I was building out some of these machine learning teams and tools, one of the things that I got to do was evaluate some vendor software tools. And this is what led to my next role. I was actually evaluating some monitoring software from a really new and exciting startup. And I got to meet the founders. I was super impressed with their software. And so that is actually where I am today. And I'm leading their customer success team. And the reason that I chose this role is because all of the customers here are these central machine learning teams, these data scientists, these teams that I'm so passionate about organizing the right way and giving them the right tooling and hiring the right people. And I really wanted the opportunity to enable these teams to be successful with MLOps best practices, which is what I'm so passionate about and what this software tool does. And I also wanted the opportunity to network with, to meet these other leaders across the industry that are our customers. So being customer facing has been like incredible. I couldn't ask for a better opportunity here. And being able to work in MLOps, where I'm in a role that I'm advising on MLOps best practices and also networking with other people who are passionate about this. So that's a little bit about me, how I got where I am today and why I'm here. I really think the theme here is I just like, every time I got frustrated, I tried to solve a problem. And when I was trying to solve that problem, I tried to collaborate with other people from different industries and take learnings from them to develop a solution. And I think that that has really led me to the career path that I'm so happy with today. Being able to see a problem in a developing industry, and instead of like letting that problem threaten my projects and complaining about it or blaming other people or the company, I tried to bring solutions. And I think that exercise and every opportunity that I had to do it had really kind of advanced my career quite a bit. So learning by doing the hard way is learning the hard way by doing it hands-on, and by being willing to definitely like work outside your role. Like, how can you work within your role definition if the role isn't even properly defined? Like, data science 10 years ago was not properly defined. So if I just came in there and said like, I'm gonna do what data scientists do, that would have been like a recipe for failure, because in some of those examples, like, the data scientist might not be properly defined, or you might not be set up for success because the leadership of the company doesn't know what data or tools to give you. They need to hear from you, and they need you to bring solutions and ideas to help solve those gaps. Yeah, I'd love to hear a little bit more about other people's journey and if it was similar. So definitely drop a comment down below, and thanks for tuning in. Bye. Energy. I love you.